Introducing serversage, an autonomous AI systems administrator. For today's demo, we're using the same setup as we did on the previous video, a VirtualBox VM on my laptop running Ubuntu 24.04. We'll be asking serversage to write us a simple game, modify some folder and file permissions, as well as perform some debugging and changes to the code base. Let's start by asking serversage to create a games folder. Notice how I didn't explicitly tell it to create the games folder in the documents directory. Let's see if serversage can figure it out on its own. There, the games directory has been created. You'll notice a little lock symbol on the folder because the directory has been created using root permissions. I'm logged in with a different user and won't be able to access the contents of the folder unless I change the folder permissions. Now go ahead and ask serversage to make the folder accessible to all users. Keep your eye out on the Games folder on the top left of the screen. You should be able to see the lock symbol disappear once the command has been completed. There, the lock has been removed and the folder is accessible to all users. You'll also notice that the command completes in the VM first before the notification comes back to the serversage web application. I'm now going to ask serversage to create a game within the folder. Snake is a classic game, first debuting in arcades in the mid-70s. Let's see how serversage does with a bit of coding. Let's switch over to the games folder and hopefully watch as the game gets created. There, serversage has written the first draft of Snake and placed it in the games folder. It should also come back with a description of the steps it took to write the game, as well as some basic instructions needed to run it. Okay, so it's telling me that it's created a virtual environment for the game dependencies, and I'll need to run the activation command before starting the game. Let's see if this works. Oh yes, we'll need serversage to update the file permissions to make it accessible to all users. Okay, let's try and run this game. I'm going to open the command line, navigate to the folder, and copy the commands to run the game. And there we have it, a live working Snake game. Let's test it out and see if all the expected game logic is in place. Looks like the game is behaving exactly how we'd expect it to behave. I'm not a big fan of the color scheme. Let's get serversage to edit the game and give it a black background. And there we have it, a beautiful high contrast black background. So now the game works beautifully. However, it seems to be returning an error message every time I exit the game. We can copy the error message and ask Server Sage for additional information about the error to see if it is something that needs to be addressed. Server Sage has now come back with some suggestions as to why the error could be appearing. It doesn't seem too serious and doesn't seem like it impacts the game in any capacity. Let's move on and have Service Sage generate a quick technical summary of the machine that it is currently on. With a simple ask, Service Sage returns a summary of the machine's hardware specs. Let me ask a final question, which is getting some basic advice and recommendations around improving security for this virtual machine. And that concludes our demo for today. I hope you found it useful. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates and demonstrations.